Welcome back inside the BROGAN HILLMAN Show, and today we have a very good one. We have the BROGAN HILLMAN Show, episode 6. Sorry, I've been slacking with the podcast episodes themselves recently. It's just trying to figure out the best way to make content, maximize it. Do I do podcast episodes? Do I do videos? Let me know. Do you prefer podcast episodes that we take clips from and also make videos, or do you prefer making straight up videos and then podcast episodes on the side? Please let me know, because I'm just trying to figure out the best way to maximize the content. But before we get into the podcast episode, we have the Bible verse. Today's Bible verse is Psalms 119:76, and it goes, "May your unfailing love be my comfort according to your promise to your servant." Just saying, be comforted by God's love. His love never fails. He's always there for you. He will always love you no matter what. If you make mistakes, if you fall, if you get down, if you get kicked when you're down, He will always be there for you. He will always love you. No matter how far away you get from Him, no matter how far you stray out, He will always be there for you, waiting for you with open arms, and He will always love you. Now let's get straight into the BROGAN HILLMAN Show, episode 6. The first segment I have today is the NBA Finals. We have the Mavericks, we have the Celtics. We have the Celtics up 2-0 in the series after the first two games in TD Garden. But the good news for the Mavericks, they're going back to Dallas. They're playing in their home court for 2 games, so they have a chance to sort of draw in this home crowd, get it 2 games back, tie it up 2-2 if they win those 2 games eventually. But what they're going to need to do is they're going to need Kyrie to step up a little more. They're going to need Derek Lively coming off the bench to step up a little more. He played 19 minutes last night and had 2 points. Not the greatest stat line. I mean, he had 7 rebounds. He made up for it in rebounds a little bit. But you want to have more than 2 points coming off the bench if you want to give your team a chance to win an NBA Finals game. Doncic played a great game. He had 32. But what we're talking about is Kyrie needs to step up a little more. He had 16. It's lower than the season average. But you look on the flip side of the ball, the Celtics are putting up numbers. They had Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's coming off the bench, and he's their leading scorer. Actually, Drew Holiday might be starting. But he has 26 points last night. Tatum goes for 18, Brown 21, Derek White 18, who's been a stud all year. They are scoring consistent points, which is the reason they're getting these wins. They won 105-98 last night. They're just finding ways to squeak out games, win games. They had a great margin in their first game. They won by like 17 or so in game 1. So they're up 2-0 in the series, looking very good. The Mavericks are a team, but I'm not sure how many more opportunities they're going to get in the NBA Finals. The West is it's becoming a very competitive conference. You have the Timberwolves, you have the Thunder, you have other good teams in that conference. Very young teams that are threatening with great players. We saw the way Anthony Edwards was performing in the playoffs this year. Even though they did knock out the Timberwolves, I think they're going to be a scary team for years to come. Not to say the Mavericks aren't. They're just a little bit older. Kyrie's a little bit older. You're not sure how much sustainability he has going through the long haul. I think they're a great team. Mark Cuban's a very good owner. He's a very involved owner. I think the Celtics are going to have a lot more chances to get back into this position than the Mavericks will. The East isn't too crazy. You have teams that are on their way out, like the Heat. I don't see the Heat making much more noise in the playoffs come recently. But the Pacers are a very good team. Got to look out for the Pacers. And there's other teams in that conference that can give them a run for their money. But the Celtics are the clear-cut best team in the NBA right now, in my opinion, in my eyes. And I think they're going to have plenty more opportunities to get back to this position in the NBA Finals. They need to step up. I think the Mavericks do have a chance. Do not count them out of this series. They're only down 2 games, 2-0. It's not too crazy. We saw the Timberwolves go up 2-0 on the Nuggets, and then the Nuggets all of a sudden have a 3-2 lead in the series. You just can't count them out just yet. Mavericks, they bring back, again, they're going back to American Airlines Center for Game 3 and 4. They bring out that 2 with the home crowd. It's tied 2-2 going back to TD Garden. So just do not count out the Mavericks. They have a chance to make noise. They could win this series in Game 6, 7 if they really lock in. Derek Lively gets going. Their scorers get going. Kyrie gets going. You just need that team to play as a unit, play collective, and they're one of the best teams in the NBA. You just have to find your rhythm, find your pacing, and you'll be okay. You'll be good for the long haul there in Dallas. You just need to play as a team, and you need to stop these Celtic scorers from scoring. They're very good at getting to the basket, putting up points. They can shoot from beyond the mark. We see that with Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. They can all obviously shoot, and they have big men. Like Jason Tatum himself is big. He's 6'10", 6'11". Once he uses that height, he is unstoppable going to the rim. You need to find a way to account for him. Also, Kristaps Porzingis, who was a top 5, top 10 pick years back. He is very good also, obviously, getting back to the rim. The unicorn. So you just need to account for They have so many playmakers. You just need to account for them, pick them up, and play your collective basketball as a unit, and they will be okay. They can find a way to get some games back and get momentum back in this series. Do not count out the Dallas Mavericks, and that is the first segment, the NBA Finals. Now moving on to the second segment, the NCAA College World Series. The College World Series, just the whole way that whole tournament's played out, but through regionals, super regionals, and the College World Series, it's one of my favorite tournaments in all of college sports. I love it so much. College sports just does a great job, the NCAA, with tournaments to end the season. March Madness, amazing. This new college football playoff, the 12-team playoff, is going to be amazing. The College World Series, the way the regionals go, super regionals, College World Series, double elimination, it's just amazing. They do great jobs with their tournaments, and it really gives underdogs a chance. That's what the NCAA is really good at, giving teams that wouldn't have as much as an opportunity a chance to make noise. I mean, we see it with teams that go on Cinderellas in March Madness. We see it like Coastal in 2016 going all the way in Omaha, winning the College World Series. You get a chance. We saw that team this year in Evansville, who unfortunately dropped Game 3 to Tennessee in a regional. They played them very, very close in that super regional. They won the first game and then dropped the last two in Knoxville to allow Tennessee to go on to the College World Series. But there's been no surprises really, besides from Evansville getting out of that Greenville regional, beating ECU. It's all 1 seeds booked so far, besides from Florida, who's a 3 seed, who's been a big surprise, knocking off Clemson in the super regional with a walk-off in the bottom of the 13th. And then the last 2 teams that still have to punch their ticket, they're playing tonight at 7, NC State versus Georgia, 2 1 seeds again, so that's not going to shake up much. Usually how it goes there in that Athens Super Regional is usually all 1 seeds chalked up in the College World Series because they're there for a reason. The skill gap in baseball is a lot bigger than the skill gap in a lot of different sports. Baseball is a very big skill gap, and we see this a lot of times, but there's also a lot of Cinderella runs in College World Series. I think Georgia is going to pull out of that Athens Super Regional. It hasn't been competitive either game. I think NC State won like 14-3, something like that, and then Georgia goes off and wins yesterday 11-2. So 1-1 split, but both games have been decided by big margins. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they play Game 3 tonight. Winner goes to the College World Series, a big game, biggest game. Both of those teams' seasons right here. Charlie Condone, my favorite player in college baseball. He's the best player in college baseball. He's just so fun to watch at the plate. He is a sure hitter. He is a hard hitter. He has power. He just knocks those balls over the fence with ease. I mean, he's just so fun to watch. He's very, very fast too. Thumbnail of this video, obviously, with Luka Doncic and Donovan Edwards, who we're going to get into next segment. But Charlie Condone is so fun to watch. They got out of that regional pretty easily. Georgia Tech gave them a scare for a little bit, but they ended up getting out of that regional pretty easily. And again, all 1 seeds besides from Florida, who played Oklahoma State very, very well, forced a Game 7 in that regional, and then went off and beat them in that Game 7. So that was very fun to watch. I just love, squeeze play, watching the regionals, super regionals. So fun. There's just something about split screen sports, having a bunch of games up on at one time, like March Madness or during the NFL season or during college football season. Just having multiple games up at one time, sitting back and just watching all the screens at once and just, taking it all in. Sports has to be just one of the best things ever, just to watch, and love sports. Besides from the Lord, obviously, the best thing ever. But sports is up there for sure. Oh my gosh, I can talk all day about how much I love sports. But the College World Series, again, this is going to be very competitive. A team that I think has the best chance at winning the College World Series is Texas A&M. They played Oregon very, very well. I think they beat them in 2 games. They won that series 2-0. Very, very good team there, Texas A&M. I think they got out of their region pretty easily. I think Texas might have gave them a scare for a little bit, but that's about it. They got out of that region. Oregon played very, very well in their regional, knocking off Santa Barbara and San Diego, but they obviously dropped both games against Texas A&M. Oregon's not a bad team at all. They were a 3 seed coming out into the Super Regional. Their third Super Regional, I think, in school history or something of that matter. Their second in a row. But Texas A&M, one of the best teams in my opinion, and they handle them pretty easily. I'm very excited to see how Tennessee plays, Kentucky plays. Florida State dropped 24 runs on a very good UConn team. So I'm very interested to see how they play as well. They were a 3 seed in the Super Regional. A lot of 3s in the Super Regionals. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, 24 runs is like the equivalent of the Dolphins dropping 70 on the Broncos in week 3. So I just want to see how this plays out. Virginia is a very good team. Florida is the only 3 seed left, the only seed that's not a 1. Again, UNC is a very good team. So it's all very good ACC, SEC teams. I think it's actually all ACC and SEC teams. Yes, it is. So that obviously runs college baseball. We've known this for a while, though. The ACC and SEC run college baseball. SEC mostly runs college baseball. It has majority of teams left, and I do believe that the SEC is going to get the win. And I think Texas A&M is going to win it all. So come back to this podcast episode once we see Texas A&M win the 2024 College World Series. That's all I have for the College World Series, really. It's very, very fun. It's a very fun atmosphere, and I love watching all these games. I think Georgia can make some noise. Tennessee, Kentucky can make some noise. Even Florida, the underdogs in this tournament, could make some noise. Watch out for it. But that is all I have for the NCAA College World Series segment. Now on to EA Sports in the NCAA 25 segment. After 11 years, it is here. We finally have it. NCAA 25. I'm sick of playing college football revamped. I'm just sick of it. Every time I try to play, the game crashes. I click like Alt-Tab and my game freezes completely and I just can't play it. And it just takes forever to reboot it and try to get back in, and I just hate it. But now we have the actual game here, and I'm looking at some of the notes like Dynasty, create a coach, take control of your team. Obviously, but I'm going to be very interested to see how the game looks now with new functions and new features that we haven't had in NCAA 14 because they weren't out. NIL deals, transfer portal. Very excited to see how this is going to shake up the game. I'm seeing here road to college football playoff. I'm just so excited for the 12-team playoff. Like Dynasty, Road to Glory, there's so much more opportunity now to make a run to the championship. You don't have to be a top 2 team like you were in NCAA 14. Now you can be a top 12 team and play in that actual playoff. Such a fun bracket, such a fun alignment, new feature to college football itself in real life too. I'm very, very excited. College Football Ultimate Team, which is something I believe NCAA 14 had, but it's not going to be nearly as fun as it's going to be in this new game. Play solo challenges, head-to-head season. Sounds a lot like Madden Ultimate Team. So it's going to be very, very good, very fun for people that play Madden Ultimate Team, obviously. And reading the Road to the Glory sounds insane. It's not like NCAA 14 Road to Glory where you played high school, you get some offers, and then you just go play college football. It says here, you live the life of a student athlete with your creative player, and you take home the Heisman as you build an unforgettable legacy. Obviously, that's somewhat similar, but here it says you have to manage your weekly schedule, your GPA, your image, earn your coach's trust to get more playing time, which is something obviously you had to do in 14 as well. We know a lot about playing time and coaching trust, but you have to use the transfer portal to get the time and glory you deserve. So if you don't like where you're at originally, you're not getting enough time, your GPA is not good, so on and so forth, you can transfer. You can hit the portal, which is something that I always wanted in Road to Glory. If I was unhappy with a school, or you were stuck there for 4 years once you made that decision, and that was it. Once you pick a team with your Road to Glory, that was it. There's no moving. You're there for the long haul. You're there for the rest of your college career. But now, you don't like it. You hit the transfer portal just like pretty much 80% of college athletes do nowadays. You're able to go wherever you want. You have options. So Road to Glory is going to be very, very fun now. And also your GPA. You have to keep up a GPA. You're not going to be able to play. You're not going to be able to be eligible for games. That's insane. A lot like Madden does with your weekly schedule as well. Like in your Road to Glory, not Road to Glory for Madden, but franchise mode and all that. So apparently it's not similar to Madden though. It's a game on its own, which I believe. It's going to also be very interesting to see all the new tackling animations, catching, throwing, just all the new animations since 14. Because we've seen drastic increase in engines and advancements in game design over the years. So this is going to look so much better. And I've always been a huge fan of scoreboards. Scoreboards are something that's always been big for me. Scoreboards take away or give a lot to the games. I just love scoreboards. I love the look of things. I'm very focused on the look of things and how attractive they are. And that really adds and takes away a lot for me when it comes to anything. So I think that's why I really like Ghost which, by the way, these cans are very attractive. As you can see over here, the big lineup of Ghost Energy. If you're watching this, please sponsor the show. That's all I had. Just want Ghost Energy to sponsor the show, obviously. But going back to NCAA 25, I'm very, very excited to see how everything plays out, how everything looks. There's new traditions, brand new commentary and broadcasting. We've seen the clips and TikToks of, the broadcaster and all that talking about how they have to do hours and hours, hundreds of thousands of hours in the booth doing voice recordings. They say they have a voice note and a call for everything. They made sure they think of everything. It's Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, two very, very obviously cemented broadcasters, very respected and great broadcasters. Obviously, new traditions in college football that you can use for Dynasty, Road to Glory. Like, imagine it's a Halloween game, 8 p.m. playing in Neyland Stadium in Tennessee in the Rocky Mountains, and all of a sudden you hear Rocky Top start playing. You're like little Coastal Carolina University running out of the tunnel. You hear Rocky Top when it's pitch black in Neyland Stadium, the lights are flickering. That's just crazy. Penn State whiteout game, Michigan-Ohio State rivalry game. This is going to be so much fun and such a great game. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I don't even have a next-gen console, but I'm going to find a way to play this game. You best believe I'm going to find a way to play this game. And that is all I have for you guys today. I just go on a little bit of a tangent at the end, a little bit of a rant. I just love college football so much. I love sports in general, if you could not tell. It's the whole point of this show. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to keep God number one, which is the most important thing in your life. I cannot stress that enough. I love you all very, very much. Make sure to share with a friend, like, subscribe. We are at 800. We're so close to 800. We're not there yet. We're so close to 800. I love you all very much. It's been Brogan Hillman, and I am out.